My name is Tony Bashara. I'm the president of Babbage & Associates. We are the oldest placement and recruitment firm in the North Texas arena, founded in 1952 in Fort Worth, Texas. We are recognized by the Dallas-Fort Worth Business Journal as the #1 contingency placement and recruitment firm in the Dallas-Fort Worth arena, an honor that we've held 6 out of the last 7 years. We're fortunate to be in this community. I've been in this profession since 1973. I've placed more than 7,500 people on a one-on-one basis in that period of time. I'm recognized by the Fordyce letter as the #1 placement and recruitment specialist in the United States. I've written 2 books on how to find a job. And after we wrote the books, we wrote a 45-hour online program, the Job Search Solution. And what we're going to go over today are the high points of that program. Looking for a job. The premise of looking for a job is to develop a process. If you manage the process, the result will take care of itself. This is a very simple process, but it isn't very easy, and it is very complicated. But if you can't explain it simply, you don't know your subject. So, simply put, you need to find a job. Or you have a job and you need to find another one. You need to find employers with pain, that is, people that need to hire somebody. You need to get interviews with pained employers. You need to sell yourself well in that initial interview, sell yourself to the second interview. You need to get offers, you need to negotiate offers, and then you need to go to work. See how simple that is? Now, how many of you in this room are looking for a job full-time? How many of you presently have a job and are looking for a job while you have one? Okay, a few. How many of you have found that looking for a job is emotionally stressful and difficult? Okay, now the rest of you liars. Look, next to death of a spouse, death of a child, death of a parent, coupled with divorce, the 4th most emotional thing that we do is look for a job. You're going to be fearful. You're going to be anxious. It's going to be a strain on your personal life, a strain on your marriage, a strain on a job if you have one. It's going to be a strain on those people that are working with you or your family. Now, the best way to deal with this emotional distress and dis-ease, get over it and get on with it. Now, that's real easy for me to say, right? I've been doing the same thing since 1973. So, some of the ways you can do that. First of all, don't deny your emotions. The reasons that you got laid off, that you got fired, that you have to look for a job, that your company went away, don't deny them. One way of dealing with it is to sit down and write out every instance of how those people did you wrong, or whatever they did, the company went away. Write it out so that you can see it written out, and write it out and read it to yourself over and over and over till the emotions dissipate. Another variation of that is to speak it into a tape recorder or a CD. Speak it over and over so that you can hear yourself, so that the more you listen, the more distant those emotions become. And you're never going to get rid of those emotions. You are going to only be able to neutralize them. Another way of dealing with it is to speak with somebody that's empathetic to your situation, not sympathetic. Don't find somebody that's going to agree with you that those SOBs fired me and that they were wrong and I'm right. They need to listen it out and help you speak out your emotions. Another way of dealing with it is visualization. Visualize every situation that caused the emotional distress and dis-ease that you were involved with. Picture it in color, then picture it in black and white, and as you do, send it way far out over the horizon and drop it into the ocean. You've got to do this a number of times, but if you do it a number of times, it's going to dissipate those emotions that you've experienced. And then a great way to deal with this, I found with a Native American shaman, he said to go out into the forest, dig a hole, lie over the hole, scream all of your emotions into a hole, put a seed into the hole, cover it up, therefore composting the negative feelings into something positive. Now, after you've dealt with the emotions of why you were looking for a job, here's what you need to get ready for. You're going to experience depression, dejected, rejected, stomped on, lied to, cheated, put on hold, messed with, forgotten. Now, how do you deal with those emotions? You take massive, massive action. The way you overcome the emotional distress and dis-ease of having to look for a job is to take massive action. That's massive numbers of phone calls, massive numbers of interviews, massive numbers of follow-ups. Numbers, numbers, numbers. If you go out of here this morning and you remember nothing else, remember that this is a numbers game. In fact, the numbers of interviews and everything that you need to do to get a job that it took in 2005, 2006, even through 2008, is a historical nirvana. It ain't going to come around for a long time. So, this is a numbers game. Let me hear it. This is a numbers game. One more time. This is a numbers game. Process, process, process. If you focus on the process, you don't need to worry about the result. And that's what we're talking about in this program. John Wooden, do what you do best and you don't have to worry about the score.